Fame sits at the top of the mountain for many software engineers. But the problem is, every year they only let in such a tiny slice of people, which means that unless you're one of those lucky hires, you are basically gatekept from the operating system they use to build, launch, and scale products that make billions in revenue. And I personally don't think that's right. So over the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to teach you everything that I learned on the inside, having gone from a junior developer to a manager in under 3 years, and then taking everything I learned to founding my very own 7-figure B2B AI consulting firm. If you just power through this video, even though I know it's going to be pretty long, I'm going to try my very, very best to save you years of trial and error and a whole lot of expensive mistakes, just like I have already done with dozens of developers just like yourself in my accelerator, Code to CEO. So the first thing that I learned that I want to teach you is going to build the very foundation of the rest of your career. And it's also the most important thing you learn when you zoom out from coding, which is strategy. Essentially, what is your game plan for building the next great product or the next great service? You see, this all starts by mapping what I call your unique advantage. It basically addresses that paralyzing question of what problem should I solve? So think of it like this simple formula. Unique advantage equals location multiplied by network multiplied by experience. The reason it's multiplication is because if any part is 0, you have essentially no advantage. But if you improve just one slightly, the whole thing compounds. So location here does not only mean your city on a map, it also means where you sit in the market. Essentially the physical and digital places where your specific buyers already hang out and where you can show up consistently without fighting the entire internet. So if you're in Austin, it could be Austin or Toronto or Singapore or LA, wherever that you have a customer cluster there. But it could also be a platform location, like let's say a Facebook group, or it can even be a time zone advantage, like being GMT3 with clean overlap with both into the US customer base and the EU customer base. Or it could even be a language advantage, like being able to sell and support in a language that your buyers never get pitched in. And the point is that you pick a corner of the world, physical or digital, ideally where you're located, where your ideal customers already live, so your message doesn't have to climb a mountain before it reaches anybody. Next, we have network. And by network, I don't mean you going around collecting business cards and calling them your friends. I mean taking a look at your friends, family, business associates, everybody in your network that you know on a first-name basis who could connect you with somebody else or who could be useful on their own. Network is a literal cheat code because one useful relationship beats 5,000 cold emails that you were never going to send out anyway. And last but not least, we have experience. And by experience, I don't mean years on LinkedIn, I mean actual reps that map directly to the pain point that you solve. Because those scars are what let you promise something concrete and then deliver it in days instead of months. And this is where devs have a hidden edge, because unlike doctors and lawyers who sell their time, you write code once and you run many. So you template, you automate, you wrap your past work in little tools. Essentially, your 10th delivery takes half the time of your first delivery, which is what leverage actually looks like. So understanding this formula gives you a validated starting point built on what you already have, cutting through the analysis paralysis that most software engineers face. But how does this actually work in the real world for people like us and not trillion-dollar companies? Well, let me give you an example that simplifies this. Let's assume you're in LA, which is your location. You know some lawyers and there are some law firms around you, which is experience as well as network. And you've built some AI workflows in the past, which is the experience. You put it all together and now you have an offer. And I can sell with certainty. And mapping this clarifies your very specific defensible value proposition, which is the first step out of the corporate grind. Let me give you another example. Let's say you live in Serbia, you know some folks in fintech, and you're an AI engineer. Put it together, and you have Marco quitting and surpassing his Microsoft salary in 20 days by working on a fintech project that he utilizes unique advantage for. And the first example I gave with the law firm, that is literally the exact offer that I launched on AB Analytics. So mapping this advantage is often the hardest part. And that feeling of, okay, I know I can build it, but what do I build exactly, is what keeps brilliant engineers like you stuck. And at Code to CEO, this is step 1. We help engineers like you pinpoint that unique advantage and turn it into a high leverage income stream without the guesswork. So if you're tired of feeling like your potential is capped, go to code2ceo.com, link in the description below, and book a free strategy call with me. I'll map out your leverage and give you a custom game plan to launch, often in weeks. Okay, let's go back to the playbook. So now that you've mapped your unique advantage, how do you turn it into a product that people actually pay for? Now, the product that we're talking about here isn't abstract. It's the thing that you sell and the result it creates. And only 2 moves really matter here. Boom number 1, you want to start with somebody else's problem. Not a trend, not a shiny object, but most often than not, a boring cash leak a real person faces every single day. Problem first ensures that you build what a specific buyer needs. And this directly tackles that what problem to solve blocker that most engineers have. And move number 2, it's all about iteration. No great product emerges fully formed. Inside big tech, we start niche and expand slowly. And you have to do the exact same. Okay, building is one thing, but getting people to pay for it, that's where most engineers hit a wall. You might think you need complex marketing frameworks, but honestly, you just need clarity. Forget everything else and memorize one acronym, ICP. Ideal Customer Profile. Saying my tool helps everyone is literally equivalent to marketing suicide. It helps nobody because it speaks to nobody. You need to get hyper specific with what you're offering. So specific that when your ideal customer reads your description, it feels like you're reading their mind. And this directly tackles the execution gap, knowing who to talk to and what to say. Most devs skip this part completely. They spray random messages, they get 0 results, and then they think marketing doesn't work and then they quit and move on. Marketing does work, but only if you are precise. So think like, I help remote SaaS teams of 10 to 50 people losing deals at the securities questionnaire stage close faster. You see how specific that is? When it's that clear, people start paying attention. Then you need to pick 2 channels where that exact person with your ICP hangs out. Could be a specific Slack community, could be the Chamber of Commerce, could be a local business meeting, could be targeted LinkedIn outreach, whatever. Commit for 90 days, 30 minutes each day. And that consistent, focused action is your marketing system. Remember, we're going for clarity and not complexity. And to close it all off with the final lesson that most software engineers ignore. If I had to think about the one skill that really changed my life, landing all these jobs, getting promoted, selling bigger deals, building my business, all of it is due to communication. Sending and receiving info clearly so people say yes to me. Tech skills are the prerequisite. They are not the prize. The prize is making reality legible for human beings. Connecting the technical to the non-technical. The biggest mistake that I made was believing numbers tell the whole story. Numbers, end of the day, are made by humans. If you ignore people, you will lose money. So stack people skills alongside tech skills. Self-awareness. Notice your stress before it leaks. Self-regulation. Choose the tone that unlocks progress, not the one that proves a point. Empathy. Understand your customers' constraints, whether it's legal, budget, risk, whatever, before calling them blockers. And last but not least, inspiration. The line between manager and leader. Help people believe they can do more than help them do it, especially when you are talking with your clients. So the best mental model you can have for this is if they win, you win. And I wish I could just hand you the keys, but all I can really do is hand you the playbook as of this moment. Follow these steps and you become dangerous in the best way possible. You gain the leverage you need to build the career you actually want, which for most of you is running your own startup. So we've covered the entire operating system, from finding your idea to shipping value. But you're probably still thinking, okay, that's great, Bago, but how do I actually land that very first paying client? What specific steps do I take? Let's study in the next 30 days. Well, that's exactly what I break down in the next video right over here. I give you the day-by-day map that I would use to go from absolute 0 to your first paying customer in 90 days flat, specifically for software engineers. Click here to watch that now. If you don't want to miss future breakdowns, please hit subscribe. And if this video gives you clarity, share it with another software engineer who needs this escape plan. Remember, you are closer to freedom than you think. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.